Ladies and gentlemen, there's a story about a farmer whose horse ran away. His neighbor came by and said, "Oh no, what terrible news!" The farmer just shrugged and said, "Good news or bad news? Who knows?" A few days later, the horse returned with a whole herd of wild horses. The neighbor rushed over. "Wow, that's amazing news!" Again, the farmer simply said, "Good news or bad news? Who knows?" The next day, the farmer's son tried to tame one of the wild horses and broke his leg. The neighbor shook his head. "What terrible news!" The farmer? You already know his response. Weeks later, the army came to recruit young men for war. Because of his broken leg, the son was spared. The neighbor, now in awe, said, "That's incredible news." The farmer, with a quiet smile, said, "Good news or bad news? Who knows?" Now, why does the story matter? Because it happens to us every single day. We face situations and immediately slap a label on them. We say, this is bad, this is unfair, this ruins everything. But here's the problem. We don't know how the story ends yet. Think back to something in your life that felt like a disaster when it happened. Maybe it was a job loss, a breakup, or a missed opportunity. Now, fast forward. Did that situation lead to something better? Did it open a door you never even considered? Here's the truth. Life doesn't work in straight lines. The things we see as setbacks often set us up for something greater. The rejection letter that crushed you, maybe it saved you from the wrong path. The failure that embarrassed you, maybe it pushed you to improve in ways success never could. We are so quick to judge moments in real time, forgetting that time itself hasn't finished telling the story. Every so-called failure, every disappointment, every detour, you have no idea what it might be leading to. So what do? We stop reacting, we stop labeling, we start asking better questions. Instead of saying, "Why me?" try saying, "What is this teaching me?" Instead of saying, "This is unfair," try asking, "How can I grow from this?" Some of the greatest success stories in history began with massive failures. Oprah was fired from her first TV job. Steve Jobs was kicked out of his own company. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers. Imagine if they had decided their setbacks were simply bad news and stopped trying. So the next time life throws something unexpected your way, remember this. You don't have all the information yet. You don't see the full picture. You are only in one chapter of the book. We don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are. Two people can go through the exact same situation and walk away with completely different experiences. One sees failure, the other sees a lesson. One sees rejection, the other sees redirection. It's not the event itself that defines the experience, it's the meaning we attach to it. Think about a rainstorm. A farmer prays for it, a traveler dreads it, and a child might dance in it. The same event, three different realities. The difference isn't in what happened, it's in the perspective of the person experiencing it. Life works the same way. When we say, "This is bad," we are making a choice. When we say, "This is unfair," we are deciding how to see the situation. But what if, instead of judging things immediately, we trained ourselves to pause? To ask, what else could this mean? A setback at work, does it mean you're failing? Or does it mean you're being redirected to something better? A tough season in life, does it mean you're unlucky? Or does it mean you're being prepared for something greater? The way we interpret moments shapes our emotions, our actions, and ultimately our future. History is full of people who turned what looked like disaster into triumph. They didn't have some magical advantage. They just chose to see possibilities where others saw dead ends. When we shift our perception, we shift our reality. We like to think we have control. We plan, we prepare, we set expectations, and then life steps in with its own agenda. One moment, everything feels certain, and the next, a single phone call, a chance encounter, or an unexpected event changes everything. What seemed guaranteed slips away, and what seemed impossible suddenly becomes reality. History is shaped by unpredictability. A missed flight that saved a life, a rejection that led to a better opportunity, a random meeting that sparked a lifelong partnership. No one wakes up knowing exactly how the day will unfold, yet we try so hard to predict and control every detail. The truth is, uncertainty isn't the enemy, it's the space where possibilities exist. If life were predictable, there would be no surprises, no breakthroughs, no room for growth. Every setback, every unexpected turn, every detour holds the potential to take us somewhere we never imagined. The question isn't whether life will surprise us, it's how we respond when it does. Every challenge comes with two choices: resist it or reframe it. Most people see obstacles as roadblocks, signs that they should turn back or give up. But what if challenges aren't meant to stop us? What if they're meant to shape us? Think about a muscle. It only grows when it's pushed beyond its comfort zone, when it's stressed and broken down so it can rebuild stronger. Life works the same way. The struggles we face aren't there to weaken us. They're there to prepare us. Every setback, every failure, every moment of doubt is an opportunity to see things differently. A rejection isn't the end, it's redirection. A failure isn't proof you should quit, it's proof you're learning. When something feels like it's working against you, maybe it's actually working for you. The key isn't avoiding challenges, it's changing the way we see them. Not everything that looks like a loss is truly a loss. Some of the greatest opportunities in life come wrapped in what first appears to be failure, disappointment, or even disaster. The problem is, when we're in the middle of it, we can't always see the bigger picture. History is filled with stories of people who thought they had reached the end, only to realize later that their setback was the beginning of something far greater. Walt Disney was fired from his first newspaper job for lacking imagination. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. In the moment, these experiences probably felt devastating, but over time, they became the very things that led to success. What looks like a door closing might actually be life guiding you toward a better one. The opportunities we're searching for don't always arrive in the form we expect. Sometimes they come disguised as challenges, waiting for us to recognize them. In a world that demands instant results, waiting feels like losing. We want success now, answers now, progress now. But the greatest things in life don't happen overnight. Growth takes time. Mastery takes patience. Anything truly meaningful requires a process, and that process is often uncomfortable. Think about planting a seed. You don't see results the next day. You water it, nurture it, and trust that beneath the soil something is happening. The same is true for the dreams we chase and the goals we set. The work we put in today may not show immediate results, but that doesn't mean it's wasted. The delay isn't denial, it's preparation. The people who achieve the most are the ones who understand that good things take time. They don't quit when progress is slow. They don't give up just because they can't see results yet. They trust the process, stay consistent, and know that patience is not just about waiting. It's about believing that what they're working for is worth the wait. Life will throw unexpected challenges, setbacks, and disappointments. The question is not if, but when. In those moments, the difference between those who rise and those who fall isn't luck, talent, or even intelligence. It's resilience. Most people react immediately to difficulties. They panic, complain, or give up too soon. But resilience is about something deeper. It's about pausing before reacting, choosing perspective over panic, and finding strength even in uncertainty. It's understanding that hardship isn't the end of the road, it's part of the journey. Some of the most successful people in history weren't the smartest or the most talented. They were simply the ones who refused to break. They adapted, learned, and kept going when others quit. They understood that setbacks are temporary, but the ability to keep moving forward despite them is what defines success. Resilience isn't about avoiding struggle, it's about how we respond to it. Instead of letting challenges control us, we learn to control how we face them. That shift in mindset changes everything. Two people can experience the same event and walk away with completely different emotions. One sees a setback, the other sees a stepping stone. One sees a problem, the other sees a possibility. The difference isn't the event itself, it's the perspective they bring to it. Perspective is one of the most powerful tools we have. It shapes how we feel, how we act, and ultimately how our lives unfold. A challenge can either be a burden or an opportunity. A failure can either be proof to quit or proof to grow. The situation doesn't change, but how we choose to see it does. History is full of people who turned struggles into strengths simply by shifting their mindset. Athletes who used losses as fuel, entrepreneurs who saw rejection as redirection, innovators who embraced failure as feedback. They didn't wait for life to get easier, they trained themselves to see differently. What we focus on, we magnify. If we constantly look for problems, we'll find them. If we look for possibilities, they appear. The key isn't changing what happens to us, it's changing the way we see it. A small, seemingly insignificant event can create a ripple that changes everything. A missed bus leads to a chance encounter. A rejection forces someone to develop a skill they never knew they needed. A failure sparks the idea that later becomes a breakthrough. Life is a web of interconnected moments, and what seems minor today might be the turning point for something extraordinary tomorrow. We often judge situations too quickly, thinking we understand their full impact. But the truth is, we rarely see the long-term consequences in real time. We rarely see the long-term consequences in real time. A single decision, a brief delay, or an unexpected challenge might redirect the entire course of our lives in ways we couldn't have planned. Some of the most successful people in the world can trace their greatest achievements back to what first appeared to be failures, accidents, or even disasters. The smallest action, a conversation, a decision, a setback, can set off a chain reaction leading to incredible opportunities. When we stop labeling moments as good or bad, and start seeing them as part of a bigger picture, we open ourselves up to possibilities we never imagine. Every moment matters, even the ones we don't yet understand. We spend so much of our lives trying to control everything, our circumstances, our outcomes, the people around us. But the truth is, we can't control most things. We can't control when a setback happens, how others behave, or what life throws our way. What we can control is how we respond to it. The challenge is learning to accept what we cannot change while focusing our energy on what we can. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up or resigning ourselves to a life of passivity. It means understanding that some things are simply outside our control, and the best thing we can do is adapt, learn, and move forward. When we fight against things we cannot change, we waste energy. But when we accept what is, we make space for the solutions, growth, and opportunities that are always there, waiting to be discovered. The goal is not to control everything around us, but to find peace in the areas we cannot influence and focus on where we can make a difference. Life becomes less about struggling to impose our will on the world and more about aligning ourselves with what is. When we do this, we realize that much of what we thought was out of our hands was actually part of the process we needed to grow. We often think of adversity as something to avoid, something that gets in the way of our happiness and success. But the truth is, growth doesn't happen without challenge. The hardest times of our lives, those moments when everything feels wrong, are often the very moments that shape us the most. It's through difficulty that we develop resilience, strength, and character. The struggles we face today might seem overwhelming, but they are the forge in which we are being tempered, the fire that strengthens us. Every challenge is an opportunity to learn, adapt, and build something new. Without adversity, we would never grow beyond our current limits. Think of the trees that grow the tallest. They face the strongest winds, the harshest conditions, and yet it's these very challenges that push their roots deeper and their branches higher. The same happens with us. Each time we overcome a difficulty, we become stronger, wiser, and more equipped for the challenges that lie ahead. The truth is, adversity is the great teacher. It pushes us out of our comfort zones and forces us to evolve. While it's never easy, the reward for facing and overcoming adversity is growth that would not be possible without it. We often find ourselves impatient with the pace of life. We want things to happen now. We want to see results immediately. But the reality is, the most important things in life take time, effort, and perseverance. The path to success isn't always a straight line. It's filled with twists, turns, delays, and sometimes even failures. And while it's easy to become frustrated or discouraged, the key is to trust the process, even when we don't fully understand it. Success, growth, and change are not always visible in the early stages. In fact, many of the most important developments happen quietly, beneath the surface, where we can't see them yet. The work you put in today might not show immediate results, but that doesn't mean it's in vain. Every effort, every step forward, and every small victory builds the foundation for what's to come. Trusting the process means having faith that the journey, no matter how uncertain or difficult, is taking you exactly where you need to go. The setbacks you face today are preparing you for the success that's coming tomorrow. The patience you develop today will be the resilience that carries you through tomorrow's challenges. So instead of rushing through the process or trying to control every outcome, allow life to unfold at its own pace. The best things take time, and what's meant for you will come when the time is right. The events that shape our lives aren't inherently good or bad. It's the stories we tell ourselves about those events that define how we experience them. Every challenge, every victory, every setback, and every triumph is just a moment in a larger narrative that we have the power to shape. When something happens, we immediately assign a meaning to it. We say, this is a failure, or this is a blessing. But what if those labels aren't the truth, but just part of the story we're telling ourselves? The truth is that every event can be viewed from countless perspectives, and the meaning we give it determines how we feel, how we act, and how we move forward. The story you tell about your life shapes your reality. If you see obstacles as insurmountable walls, they become just that, But if you see them as challenges that are helping you grow, they become stepping stones on your path to something greater. The events themselves might be the same, but the way we frame them determines whether they empower us or hold us back. The greatest achievers aren't those who avoided setbacks. They're the ones who reframed their stories. They took what life handed them, whether it was pain, loss, or failure, and turned it into fuel for their success. The narrative you choose to tell is the one that shapes your future. So make it one that drives you forward, even when things seem uncertain. Life is a series of unpredictable moments, each holding the potential to shape our path in unexpected ways. How we respond to these moments is what truly defines our journey. We may not have control over the challenges that come our way, but we do have control over how we perceive them and how we choose to react. Every experience, whether perceived as good or bad, is part of a larger story, a story that we have the power to rewrite with each choice we make. The key is to embrace the process, trust that every moment, every setback, and every triumph is leading us somewhere valuable, even if we can't see it yet. The story isn't over until we say it is, and with the right mindset, any chapter can lead to a greater future. So, when life gives you unexpected twists, remember, it's all part of the story. And who knows, it might just be leading you to something amazing.